And the chronicle for this morning, James chapter 1 verse 19.
Amen.
Know this, my beloved brothers. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. NPP MPs on December elections, Mahama must debate Bawumia. Majority Koku says government is not afraid of its track record. We'll have this conversation later on the show, to debate or not to debate. And, well...
Would that be digital against the 24-hour?
Well, you can say that, but we'll see. For now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You've had the minority say that, since the vice president is the chairman of the economic management team, he should debate,
come to parliament.
First of all, he should come to parliament and engage in the media budget review debate. And he can debate the likes of Isaac Adongo. He can also debate Ricketts Hagan, Thomas Ampem Nyako, and others who are ready to, engage him in a debate on the Ghanaian economy. Anyway.
I think because the presidential candidate is busy, or because the presidential candidate can't debate.
I think the former president has not said anyway, I stand to be corrected, whether he would not. I think that final decision lies with him, whether he wants to go ahead or not. So all these external parties, I think that we should take their commentary with some pinch of salt and look at forward to what the former president
his spokesperson, Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, took serious exception to IEA's suggestion of organizing a debate, and really, accused them of, some sort of misbehavior.
On IEA organizing a debate for them.
I don't know.
Well, if you listen to the conversation in Parliament, and you probably, I'm sure you may have heard Ato Forson make the point that a driver's mate, he says a driver's mate cannot debate an experienced driver. And so, in effect, he's telling you that a debate between Mahama and Dr. Bawumia is a non-starter in the first place. I haven't heard from Mahama himself.
Yeah, and I think that's what I said. We'll put a lot more premium on what the former president will say than what everybody's saying.
Exactly. So in 2012, at the time when Professor J.E. Mills had indicated he was not going to debate, following his passing on the 24th of July, which 12 years was yesterday, John Dramani Mahama, having become president, decided to engage in a debate. It helped him, really. I mean, it helped him in the IEA debate. I don't know what's going to happen this time. Well, we'll talk about it later on as part of our Political Thursday conversation. And $60 million University of Health and Allied Sciences Phase 2 project ready after Kufaro cut sword in 2021. I see a photograph, Sokode Hall here. 1,000 homes built for security agencies since 2017. That's according to Minister of Works and Housing, Kojo Opon Nkrumah. That's it for the Chronicle.
Let me do the daily guide, and Nana justifies appointing more judges, and that's a story on the front page of the daily guide. Also, Tamil's 12 Memorial Service, NDC and family fight Anyidoho.
This issue, so the Atamils Institute decides to hold a memorial event. The family and the John Evans Atamils Heritage also has an event. So the Atamils Institute was expected to have ended their event before the family comes in. Look, you cannot love a man more than his family. But even if you do, you should not, for the sake of the love you have for that man, be seen fighting his family. So even if you love Professor Mills more than his family, for the sake of the love you have for Professor Mills, respect his family and never in any way show that you're fighting his family.
And even in our culture, when even you're a wife and you lose your husband, I mean, it's the family that does everything.
Yeah.
And culture, if I can use the expression, culturally, it's the family that handles, somebody they've lost and all the rest. So let's give that respect to the family. No matter how close you were to that person, even if you were a wife, it's about the family that handles everything. And for me also, would you want to blame those who manage the place? What was the agreement? I mean, were the two parties bound to respect that? Because if you were given a time to close the place at this time, you should get off and allow the family to have some private time with someone they've lost.
Look, legally we say when you die, yes, all the decisions will be taken by your family. Even for those who are minded and say, when I die, I should be buried within this time, this way, that way. Sometimes families vary it.
Yeah.
I have a friend whose father said he should be buried in Koforidua.
Yeah.
When he died, his family said he should be brought to his hometown in the Volta region. The children said, but our father said we should be buried in Koforidua. You know what the chief of the community told the children? He said, my sons, your father made me chief. I tell you one thing. Your father would understand why you had to bring him here than burying him in a foreign land. So leave that aspect to us. Okay? Leave that aspect to us. You tried, but don't fight your father's family. Anyway.
Two other stories. You also have government delivers 1,000 homes to security agencies after forcing says that Bawumia can't debate Mahama. Supreme Court upholds law against unnatural canal knowledge. That's on page 6 of the Daily Guide. Also behind the ocean, appointed manager of Campon Academy, and also, to these other stories at the back page of the Daily Guide.
Now, the daily graphic for this morning says unnatural carnal knowledge unlawful, sex use of vibrators, others still offenses. That's according to the Supreme Court. And so the Supreme Court says that an existing law that criminalizes unnatural carnal knowledge, unnatural carnal sexual intercourse, and makes it unlawful for both heterosexuals and homosexuals to have anal sex does not breach the 1992 Constitution. In a unanimous decision yesterday, a 7-member panel of the court dismissed the suit challenging the constitutionality of Section 104(1)(b) of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, which makes sexual intercourse in an unnatural manner a crime, even if it involves two consenting adults. Okay, and non-professional teachers must upgrade by December. That's also here. Back page says road crash death rise by 17%. In Africa, WHO calls for holistic policies to stem tide, and NGO renovates Volta North Police Anti-Human Trafficking Office. All of these here. And President swears in 16 appeal court justices is also here. That's it for the daily graphic.
So what does this mean with respect to this current case before the Supreme Court, this anti-LGBTQZZ or whatever?
You will know shortly.
Based on this ruling.
Well, it's in court, I'm sure. The Supreme Court is not bound by its decisions, but
really?
I'm sure there are people who are going to be making reference to this in court. Let's wait and see.
Well, let's look at the new find that tourism rakes in $1.8 billion between January and June 2024. Also, Michael Harry-Yamson says reforming Senate is a call for transformation in pension management. And Dr. Amwa, that is the Deputy Minister of Finance, called for patience amid economic improvement, and also the balancing act of intelligence agencies in modern economies. That's, I think, a piece by Reverend Ken Moza, and also 150,000 to 50 million available for SMEs, and that is coming under the SME growth support the government has put together. And you get that details of those stories in the new finder.
But I'm interested in the tourism bit.
Yeah. And I think that if you look at the Bank of Ghana data, yes, it appears that more travels are coming, people are coming in, and then looks like the spending has also gone up as well. And post-COVID, I think you've seen the data. If you do the plotting on the graph, it's picking up strongly. So let's see whether it can be sustained, because some have said that even with the little support the sector is receiving, it is doing well. So what about doing more to improve the road networks, and in terms of also reducing the cost, because people are still complaining about the cost of staying in some of these hotels. There's a bit about electricity, there's a bit about taxes, there's a bit about inflation, and then your exchange rate is also not doing very well. So first, they want to promote domestic tourism, but it's still expensive, Kojo. was it yesterday? I was watching something about Nabakatui, and there's a fashion also coming. How do we try and encourage more domestic tourism?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been talking about domestic tourism for so long without actually understanding what we're even discussing. Look, it is really about the movement of money from one part of the country to another, the stimulation of economies around the country. Okay, and one of the easiest ways to do that is by giving people a reason to move. A reason to visit, spend 24 hours in another part of the country. Give them a reason. But in this country, no one is investing in that. No one is investing in that. No government. I keep giving the example of what the NDC put in their Green Book. Right? One paragraph saying in 2015, the tourism sector made $3.5 billion with no example of any actual investment that government had made in the sector. The sector itself on its own made 3.5. So they could see the potential, but still did nothing about it. Then we have this government that came along and said, okay, we'll do year of return. So once a year, we promote tourism.
I mean, some time ago, I think it was the American Navy. They got to Ghana, and in our seas, in our Ghanaian waters, they got to the intersection between longitude 0 and latitude 0. That's supposed to be the center of the world itself. Kwame Nkrumah tried with this whole idea of Tema, the city in the center of the world. Now, if you go to other jurisdictions, if you go to some of the East African countries, they'll tell you about, where you have the equator, passing through the country, dividing it into two. You have some same in Ghana sometimes too. But this is the point. We have not told our tourism story, whether locally or foreign. We haven't told the story. All we have done is to just wait. In fact, the Akufo-Addo government has done very well with the year of return, beyond the return, destination Ghana. They've done very well with that. But beyond December, how do you get people into this country? Look, you have... I was having a conversation with the executive chairperson of Land Tours. She was telling me how they started and started bringing in, people into the country. And there are a lot of Americans who, for instance, would want to come to what they term as the motherland. They want to come here, and they actually would want to go through, our traditions, get their names changed. This is what we have. We may not have the best sites, but we may have some of the best culture that you can sell. And these Americans who come into Ghana, they come into Ghana, stay within our rural areas, something that we're not even prepared to do, those of us who are in Accra. They go to the rural areas, they learn bead making, and all these things are things they pay money for.
But I think that's very important. Whilst you also try to encourage people to come in, the bit about the domestic tourism is also very important.
Look, George, you're so right about that. We don't get it. We don't understand what it can even do for our economy. All right. I'm privileged to be a member of the planning committee for this year's Ogwafitu Afashe, their 60th anniversary. And as we are planning this festival, obviously we have to engage state institutions and so forth. Now, I mean, I'm not going to complain about the fact that, I would have expected state institutions like Tourism Authority and Tourism Ministry to rather be biting our hands off, because this is a great global brand. The Afashe actually has the second largest carnival in the world.
Wow.
Right? So you would expect that, they would be excited about it, but we're not getting that. That's fine. We have to come to them. We have to chase them around. Regional security, we have to go and ask them for help to, provide protection and this, that. I would have thought that it would be a matter of policy that anything that can bring tourism to any area in this country, we prioritize it. Because it's easy. It's a low-hanging fruit. But anyway, we are still quite away from there.